Hey guys, in this video we'll be talking about one of the content of the axilla, namely the axillary artery. This axillary artery is actually the continuation of the subclavian artery. The subclavian artery after this outer border of the first rib, it is called the axillary artery, and this axillary artery it will be coursing via the axilla. In the axilla it is more close to the anterior wall compared to the posterior wall. So during its course in the axilla it is divided into three parts by a muscle called the pectoralis minor muscle. So, this pectoralis minor muscle has divided the axillary artery into three parts. The first part, which is present proximal to it, the second part, present beneath it, and the third part, which is present after this. So, it is divided into one, two, three parts. So, this is into three parts, it is divided by the pectoralis minor muscle. So, from this first part comes up for only one branch, and from the second part comes the two branches, and from the third part comes the three branches. In such a way, overall the axillary artery will be together giving the six branches. So first part one branch, second part two branch, third part three branches. Now let us talk about all those branches and all. Now there's a first part. The first part will be giving the only branch, that is a superior thoracic artery. The superior thoracic artery, if you see, it is coming closer to the first rib and it will be supplying the pectoral muscles. And now coming to the second branch, this is called the Thoracoacromial artery. This thoracoacromial artery, the very important point to know about it is it will be piercing the clavipectoral fascia and supplies the upper limb and the trunk region. So it will be giving the four branches, which is remembered with a mnemonic cap D. C refers to the clavicular branch. This clavicular branch will be supplying the sternoclavicular joint and the subclavius muscle. Next, coming to the letter A, this is called acromial branch that will be supplying the deltoid muscle and later participate in the acromion anastomosis, which happens over the acromion process of the scapula. Now, D refers to the deltoid branch that will be running in the deltopectoral groove along with the cephalic vein and will be supplying the pectoralis major and minor muscles. Next, P here refers to the pectoral branch, and this will be supplying the pectoralis major, minor, and also the mammary gland. Very important. Later, the second branch from the second part of the axillary artery is the lateral thoracic artery, which will be running along the inferior margin. So I say this is the pectoralis major muscle, minor muscle. So inferior margin of this pectoralis minor muscle, you can see an artery called the lateral thoracic artery, and this will be supplying the serratus anterior, pectoralis major, minor, subscapularis, and the mammary gland. So in females, this lateral thoracic artery is very larger that it supplies the mammary gland. Mammary gland, the richest blood supply is from this lateral thoracic artery, and this is larger in females in order to supply the mammary glands. From the third part, the first branch comes is the subscapular artery, which is the largest branch of all the branches of the axillary artery. So this subscapular artery further divides into two branches, namely the circumflex scapular artery and the thoracodorsal artery. So when you consider this as the scapula, this subscapular artery, it will be giving the circumflex scapular artery. This will be running around the lateral border of the scapula. This is a medial border and this is the lateral border. So it will be running along the lateral border and enter the intraspinous fossa. This is the spine and this is the intraspinous fossa, and here it will be joining the scapula anastomosis. Whereas the thoracodorsal artery, it will be running along with the thoracodorsal nerve, and that will be supplying the latissimus dorsi muscle. Next, coming to the anterior circumflex humeral artery, which is smaller when compared to the posterior. It will be running on the anterior aspect of the surgical neck of the humerus, performs anastomosis with the posterior circumflex humeral artery. It is a smaller branch it gives. This anterior circumflex artery, it gives a smaller branch that will be running superiorly in the intertubercular sulcus and will be joining the shoulder joint. So when you consider this one, So this is anterior, sorry. So this is the anterior circumflex humeral artery that will be running along the anterior aspect of the surgical neck, and later it will be giving a superior branch that will be running in the intertubercular sulcus that will be supplying the shoulder joint, or also called the glenohumeral joint. Later, the posterior circumflex humeral artery, it will be traveling posteriorly as the name suggests, along with the axillary nerve. Very important to remember, the posterior circumflex artery, it will be accompanying the axillary nerve and enters the quadrangular space, and later comes anteriorly, performs anastomosis with the anterior circumflex humeral artery. So this is all about the branches of the axillary artery, its course, its distribution, its branches. So the first one, superior thoracic artery, second is the thoracoacromial artery, third is the lateral thoracic artery, fourth is the sub subscapular artery, and this is the anterior circumflex humeral artery, and this is the posterior circumflex humeral artery. Okay guys, I hope you found it easier. If so, do like, share and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thank you for watching. Best wishes.